What do you really need to go into Tier 3? Do you need a legendary weapon Pack-a-Punch to Tier 3? Can you use a purple or blue or even green weapon in Tier 3? Today, we're testing out every single weapon rarity level in Tier 3, and hopefully finding out what you really need to survive in Tier 3. Alright, game number 1 here. Given the premise of the video, you may think that we're going to start off with a regular default gray weapon and then Pack-a-Punch it and just go all the way up through the weapons to see when we can finally take on Tier 3, which is definitely one logical way of going about it, but that's kind of inefficient and honestly not as dramatic. So for the video, instead of starting at the bottom and going to the top, we are going to start with a legendary rarity weapon. Now the reason we're going to start from the top is not only just for, dramatic purposes, but there's a good logic behind it too. If this legendary weapon without any Pack-a-Punch isn't good enough for Tier 3 zombies, then logically we can rule out any other lower tiered rarity weapon for no Pack-a-Punch Tier 3 zombies. So it's actually a lot more efficient to start from the top and go down. Now in terms of what is good enough for Tier 3 zombies, well, that's something we're going to need to figure out. And hopefully I give you enough examples of how these weapons perform in Tier 3 so that you can come to your own conclusions. And for the sake of a good scientific method, we are going to keep using the same weapon for all of the tests. So here we are, Tier 3, we just got a regular zombie, a light armored zombie, and a heavy armored zombie, which is perfect. So we're going to just go ahead, go to town, and with that damage, it kind of looks pretty interesting. It's doing honestly better than I thought for an unpack-a-punched weapon, but I don't know about you, but I definitely would say that this is ineffective for Tier 3, which is good because it means we can logically rule out any other base weapon without Pack-a-Punch on it, because we got a 60 round magazine and we're only taking out 1, maybe 2 zombies at a time with it, so definitely not all that efficient. So let's go Pack-a-Punch this thing. You may have seen my previous video about Pack-a-Punch versus rarity on your weapons, and in that video you might have seen this chart. This chart supposedly gives us a rough multiplier that happens to our weapons when we upgrade them. This was found on the Call of Duty wiki and I just made it pretty. But hopefully with this test we can get a definitive concrete multiplier of your weapon that you need in order to go to Tier 3. So I've got enough points to Pack-a-Punch, but Dokubi's in the Pack-a-Punch area, so I'm gonna have to go all the way across the map. Alright, after meleeing the Pack-a-Punch, we're gonna keep our camo because I need that challenge done, but we are now Pack-a-Punch level 1, which makes us this much more efficient in Tier 2, but what is it gonna be like in Tier 3? Right, another solid group here, we're gonna do that. Okay, that's automatically a whole lot better. Oh, hello, some guy behind me. Here's an armored zombie, and honestly, that's not bad. That's pretty usable. That's pretty workable here. I don't think we're killing any mega abominations, but I think we can hold our own there. All right, Disciple, let's see. Can we shoot your hand? Not so much. Not so much. It's not doing super well against that Disciple. We've got a Mimic on our way now. Sort of taking care of the zombies. Hellhound's no problem, obviously. Now we got 2 Disciples on our heads here. We're completing the contract. It's just not as elegant as I would like it to be here. Yeah, this might be doable for some people, but honestly, it's still not great. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? You guys are not going to believe what is in that reward rift. You're going to hate me. We've got a double Pack-a-Punch crystal and the ray gun plans. Oh, that's insane. Now with Pack-a-Punch Tier 2, I know for a fact that's a different story here, because we can definitely, oh boy, that's not great. Oh boy, that's not great. With Tier 2 Pack-a-Punch, we can actually take out these mimics now. So I think this is actually a really cool baseline here. Legendary Pack-a-Punch 1, definitely viable for some contracts. And if you want to be just a little bit more comfortable, go ahead, Pack-a-Punch Tier 2 it. Legendary should be more than enough. Yes, you are not going to have any problems here with Legendary Pack-a-Punch 2. Even with Pack-a-Punch Tier 2, you're going to be taking out these boss zombies fairly easily. With the Legendary tool done, let's hop in game and test out the Epic Aether Tool. Alright, with this Epic Aether Tool weapon, we know for a fact that we are at least going to need to Pack-a-Punch it once. And I'm going to have to do a few contracts to get like my perks back a little bit. The chat's not wrong here. The server, ever since we spawned in, like 60 seconds ago, it's been absolutely packet bursting to death. I hope this game doesn't crash. Oh, the server's terrible. Oh, it's awful. And this is the exact scenario I was talking about, because that legendary Aether tool wasn't good enough in Tier 3 just by itself without Pack-a-Punch. We know for a fact that this Epic Aether Tool without Pack-a-Punch is probably not going to be good in tier 3 either without Pack-a-Punch. And let's throw up the build that I'm using in these games. I decided to try to go with the most average default weapon that players had available. And most players, I imagine, start with the MCW. It's one of the default contraband weapons that it starts you out with. We're 7 minutes in, and this server is not getting much better. We just found another Pack-a-Punch 2 crystal. That's insane, from a tier 2 contract. I think it's time to go into tier 3 before we crash. Alright, let's go ahead and get stamina up and speed cola. Let's avoid the mega abomination. And let's go to our trustworthy little safe area over here. So, epic rarity, Pack-a-Punch 1, if we can get this going on. You know what? That didn't look that bad. We've got quite a bit of zombies here. I know they're probably in slow motion, but we're killing stuff. And it doesn't feel that bad. It's definitely not like the legendary without Pack-a-Punch. I bet you we can take out this horde fairly confidently here. It's definitely not the most dominant weapon, but this combination, this is very viable, at least for some people. Much like the legendary Pack-a-Punch one, it's definitely very possible to go in here and complete some basic contracts. Now this might be a terrible idea. In fact, I know it's a terrible idea. Let's go up against this Mangler here. It's hard to tell because of how laggy the game is, but unlike the Disciple last game, we're actually making some progress with this Mangler, which just goes to show you how strong Disciples can be, but also just how effective. This is epic Pack-a-Punch 1, and there it is. We just took out that zombie. And honestly, this might be better for the test because these guys are moving in slow motion, but I definitely feel just perfectly fine. I can slide around, kind of juke them out really well. Similar to the legendary Aether Tool, Pack-a-Punch 1 is viable against normal zombies. You might take a few more bullets. You're going to have to be a little bit more accurate, kind of tack stancing on their heads or aiming for their heads, obviously. But then if we Pack-a-Punch tier 2, it's going to be a lot more comfortable. It's going to feel a lot more normal. That's about, honestly, that feels really good. This Pack-a-Punch 2, let's get this Disciple going over here. This Disciple is running away from me. Hello. Pack-a-Punch 2 on a Mangler, just as effective as you would think. Really good. Less than a magazine. Less than a magazine. Obviously a little less affected on these discipled zombies, but as you can see, we can just take out that Disciple really swiftly. But let's get out of this laggy server and move on to the rare Aether Tool. Alright, this server seems to be much better. We've got our rare Aether Tool. We're gonna Pack-a-Punch it, and I've got to get some contracts because now I have to earn death perception, stamina up, and speed cola this game. Alright, there's Deadshot and stamina up. The amount of schematics I get per game is actually ridiculous. And finally, speed cola. Alright, now before we go into tier 3 just over there, we have to try this out in tier 2. Rare weapon Pack-a-Punch level 1 in tier 2 is surprisingly effective. That's not bad whatsoever. Very, very manageable. That feels very good actually. But will it be the same when we go into tier 3? See a little group over here. Let's take out a light armored zombie. Yeah, that's not great. And I can't imagine the heavily armored zombie is gonna be much better. You know what? It's not terrible. You could get work done if you really wanted to, but it's not looking so hot here. Yeah, that's just a regular zombie. That's not good. So let's double Pack-a-Punch this bad boy and see if that's any better. And you just stay over there. In fact, I'm gonna go all the way over here to the next bridge to make sure I'm safe. All right, with dogs, it's again, much better than I would imagine. This Pack-a-Punch 2 might just do the trick here. All right, regular zombie. That's not bad. That's not bad. Oh my goodness, would you look at that? This is kind of crazy to me. Going in here with a Pack-a-Punch 2 blue gun, I mean, this is definitely not efficient. In fact, it feels like we just shifted a Pack-a-Punch level down. Let's just try this contract, see if we can do a contract in tier 3 with a blue rarity weapon here. Like I said, it's not like they're melting through these zombies, but it's definitely something that if you need to run tier 3 really quickly, get some points, it definitely feels like you can do it. It doesn't feel super oppressive in here. I mean, of course, we're building up a little bit of a horde here because we're not killing them as quick as we usually do, but you could just kind of take your time. That's really what it is. It's a trade-off in time. Tier 3 is so big, well, this whole map is big and wide open, that you really just need to trade off your time in order to kill these guys. But look at that, just like that, our horde is all but gone here. In fact, this is going to be the real test here, this Mangler. Let's go ahead, aim for his arm cannon here. Oh boy, if we could destroy that, that'd be great. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, we're not doing super big damage here. Let's aim for his head, get some headshots in there. Yeah, that's not great. This does definitely feel like that epic legendary Pack-a-Punch one kind of damage that we've done in the past here, but definitely not impossible. It's not like, oh my goodness, you can't touch anything in here, like old school high round zombies. And after a little bit, he's taken care of. All right. And what you could also do, if you have like a group of zombies lined up like this, you could just throw a Molotov there, kind of soften them up a little bit. And then with this gun, or any of the guns that we've been testing, clearly you don't need to do as much damage. So you can kind of use your equipment and kill streaks and field upgrades to help you soften up this horde. Now, would I recommend this to like grind tier 3 contracts? Definitely not. Against those HVTs, it's not going to be great. As we see against these base zombies, or base boss zombies, it's still not great. Definitely not. In fact, the biggest problem I found with completing contracts isn't necessarily the damage, but it's the consequence of having such a large horde. With such a large horde, you're getting hit many times, and because you like can't kill them all really quickly, I don't have many armor plates here, but certainly not impossible if you really try. But of course, like I said, use your field upgrades. Ooh, that's a lucky little drop right there. We can use that again. Kind of complete this contract, maybe get these guys off of me, get some really good armor here, and an epic ether tool. Look at that. And of course, another schematic. Isn't that just ridiculous? All right, beyond my wildest dreams, we are using a tier 3 Pack-a-Punch gun at rare rarity in tier 3. And let's see how good it's gonna be against an armored zombie. Dang it, that's fine. That's just great, isn't it? Like, that just feels normal, right? That just feels normal. Are there any mimics in here? All right, little boss zombie here. We're gonna get this mimic. Look, the mimic's already almost half dead. Wow. Oh, that's a mega abomination. I don't want to go that way. Oh no. All right, we got a good group of people here. Look at that. It's a mimic down. That's a thing. Oh, dude, this is okay. Disciple. Let's see how that does. Okay, let's get this mimic first. Oh no, I'm out of armor. Dang it. And that mimic is done. Let's get that disciple. Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? Go, donuts, go. Like I said, the armor is really the biggest thing. Let's get some armor back here. There we go. All right, disciple, stop doing that. Oh, all right, let's throw a decoy and let's get this disciple dead here. Not bad. Honestly, not bad. Very, very manageable. Ooh, speed cola, I'll take that. And here's a good sized horde here. We're just gonna play, dude, look, it's, dude, that's crazy. That feels so normal. You know what? I'm excited. I'm excited for our next game, because next up is we have the Uncommon Aether Tool. And here we are at the Uncommon Aether Tool level. Now, if any weapon rarity isn't gonna be useful at all in tier 3, I would expect it to be this one. But first, we're gonna melee the Pack-a-Punch so that way we keep our camo here. Another schematic. Are you joking me right now? Well, here's stamina up and dead shot. And this time we're going to be smart and load up on armor plates. And we got a lucky ether tear, so we can just move right on to tier 3. Now, we did just Pack-a-Punch 1 this guy, so it's definitely not going to be effective quite yet. Even with these tier 2 zombies. I mean, it's not bad in tier 2, but the jump up is probably going to be insane. Yeah, it can't even kill a dog. Oh no. Yep, this is pack 1. Uncommon tool, not good. Oh, mimic. Oh no. Okay. Well, on the move, let's Pack-a-Punch to it. That's just a regular old mimic, so that's not that big of a deal. Here's a tier 3 person, and wow, look, I mean, it's not good, but that didn't seem that bad. Ooh, they're doing a contract over there. All right, here's a good group of zombies over here. Look at that light armored zombie. Okay, definitely the least effective Pack-a-Punch tier 2 we've had. I don't think you could really squeeze out a contract. I mean, you could squeeze out a contract with no weapons in tier 3. That's been a popular strategy for such a long time, but if you actually want to kill anything, I don't think this is the way to do it. Here's a dog that takes, you know, a decent amount of shots to kill. Here's a basic zombie that's gonna take, you know, at least like 20 shots or so, and if you're backing up, you're putting on armor, all this stuff, yeah, it takes quite a bit to kill these zombies. Definitely, I think we're right there at the threshold where this double Pack-a-Punch is finally not effective enough. But how does tier 3 Pack-a-Punch fare with this guy? Perfect, a boss zombie, cool. Let's kind of shoot the boss zombie a little bit. Broke its face mask, that's pretty good. And that's a disciple, that's a meaty boss zombie here. Try to shoot it, kind of stop it a little bit. Maybe throw a decoy for these regular zombies. And then that's perfect. Look at that. Okay, that's some damage. That's still not good. I think we are finally at the point where a triple Pack-a-Punch just isn't good enough for tier 3. Like, it might be possible. Like, if you've got nothing better, you've got tier 3 Pack-a-Punch. These zombies are sprinting on top of the world right now. If you've got nothing else, like, dude, well, I guess that was the energy mine, but I mean, we're gonna kill this mimic. It's not impossible, but just definitely not preferable. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's a whole clip or a whole magazine. I apologize, gun people. It's a whole magazine, and it's a disciple, and like, it's gonna heal up a little bit, but definitely don't count out the triple Pack-a-Punch uncommon weapon here. Just from feel alone, an uncommon triple Pack-a-Punched weapon feels very similar to a non-Pack-a-Punched legendary Aether Tool weapon. Effective enough to like survive, but not really thrive. You have to be really accurate, really patient. Like I said, it's a trade-off of time, but this is not something that I would really recommend. Which leaves us just one more game. We're gonna use an uncommon, unupgraded weapon, triple Pack-a-Punched. Alright, seeing as this is like the 5th game, yes, we have a triple Pack-a-Punch gun, but unfortunately we don't have that many perks anymore. But luckily, we are zombie experts. We know how to get guaranteed free perks every game. Alright, Blue Bunny, let's head on up to the top. Thrilling gameplay, I know, but it's Easter eggs like these that make the map more charming and the mode overall a little bit more fun. Alright, we did it, free stamina, and one last time, dead shot. I guess it should be, we should try this on tier 2 zombies, right? This is unupgraded, just Pack-a-Punch tier 3, common rarity, and honestly, that's pretty good, actually, really good for tier 2. It seems to me like in terms of power, Pack-a-Punch is more powerful than legendary rarity, which I think is great because clearly Aether Tools are less common to come by. Alright, our last venture into tier 3. Just like we started, we've got a nice group of an armored zombie, light armored zombie, and some normal zombies. Let's see how it does against the normal zombie. That's not terrible, but against these armored guys, well, actually, that's not bad. I mean, it's not great though. Like, it's not great. Genuinely though, better than I expected. I expected us to like not even be able to touch anything, even with triple Pack-a-Punch in here. But yet again, it feels like we lowered the Pack-a-Punch level. It feels like we're one Pack-a-Punch level short than what we need to be in order to be really threatening over here. Like this armored zombie right here, like not satisfying. Not terrible though, but just not, I would not recommend this. If for some reason you find yourself with no way to upgrade your weapon's rarity, but you have tier 3 Pack-a-Punch somehow, sure, you can come in here maybe with a squad, complete some contracts, but you might not have the best time. Oh, perfect, here's a little mimic. We can get these guys distracted against a tier 3 mimic. That's what you're doing against a tier 3 mimic. Yeah, that's not gonna be good. Here we go, here's a more, I mean, it's not, like I said, not terrible, but like you are not doing any sort of work here. It's again, we killed them. Like, you know, mission successful. It's kind of, I guess it's up to you if you feel like this is worth it just to go in here for whatever. Me personally, I would not feel comfortable with this. That being said, tier 3, in my opinion, is not as threatening and doesn't have as high of a barrier to entry than I thought it did. I think the balance of this zone is actually really well done. As we saw at the beginning of this video, if you have a legendary weapon with no Pack-a-Punch, you can go into tier 3. But right now, if you have the opposite to that, if you just have Pack-a-Punch and you don't have a weapon rarity, you could still do some work here in tier 3. And if you have anything more than either of those two extremes, you're in for a decent time. You can thrive. You don't need a legendary Aether Tool. You don't even need an epic Aether Tool if you have triple Pack-a-Punch, as we just saw last time. Somebody needs our help. Oh, this is a bad idea, isn't it? Oh, this is a terrible idea. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go. Let's rescue. Let's rescue. Yep. Okay, all right. Yeah, you're on your own with that, buddy. So with all of this information, let's revisit that chart from the beginning of the video. We can take a look at these numbers and get a ballpark general idea of how much damage we need to do and what combination combination of upgrades we need to have on our weapons before we go to tier 3. Obviously, it's based on your own preferences and you can come up with your own conclusions, but me personally, so it looks like the magic number might be around an 8 times multiplier in order to really survive in tier 3 somewhat comfortably. And so I have created a heat map for this exact situation. There are plenty of options of combination of weapon rarity and pack-a-punch level that are not only viable, but really good in tier 3. Now, you might not have epic or legendary ether tools, so that might leave you with the question of how long does it take you to pack-a-punch your weapon to tier 3 pack-a-punch? Luckily, I did a very similar video to this and found out, and the results are pretty interesting. Be sure to check it out here and stay beautiful.